What's going on, guys? FadeitLuie here, bring guys a brand new video. We're gonna be doing a mid fade on my boy, so stay tuned. We're starting off by saturating the hair, combing everything into place, making sure our canvas is nice and neat. We're now moving on to our go to effects, and we're gonna create our first guideline, contouring to his head shape. Now that we're done balding them out, we can move on to our no guard all the way open and create our second guideline. You want to make sure you make this guideline around 1 inch thick so you can spread the blend. Now that we're done setting in the guideline, we're going to slowly close the lever midway and all the way close and attack that initial guideline. Always make sure to stretch the skin with your opposite hand to give you more space to blend. Now that we're done erasing our initial guideline, we can move on to our one guard all the way open and create our third guideline. We're then going to use this same guard and the lever to soften up the line and get ready for the half guard. Now that we're done softening up the line, we can move on to our half guard and erase the line completely. Make sure to use your lever and also the corners. I hope you guys are enjoying the video. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. It's greatly appreciated. Now that we're done with the lower guards, we can move on to our two guard all the way open and create our fourth guideline. We're also going to use this same guard and the lever to soften up the line and get ready for the 1.5 guard. Now that we're done softening up the line with the 2 guard, we can move on to the 1.5 guard and erase the line completely. This guard is going to help us connect to the 1 guard all the way open and also the 2 guard on top. Sometimes there's still a faint line after using your 1.5 guard, so you switching over to your 1 guard all the way open and using its corners would definitely help. Before we finish blending the parietal ridge, we're going to switch over to our 4 guard all the way closed and debulk the top. Now that we're done debulking the top and sides, we can move on to our 3 guard all the way open and create our 5th guideline. This is going to help us connect to the 4 guard on top and also the 2 guard all the way open. Here I'm using my 3 guard and my 2 guard all the way open to debulk and detail as much as possible. Now I'm switching over to my clip roll comb method to make the blend as smooth as possible. Now that we're done detailing the sides, we can move on to the back and start off with our no guard all the way open and then slightly close the lever midway and all the way closed and attack that initial guideline. We are near the occipital bone, so you want to make sure you take your time here and detail as much as possible. Now that we're done erasing our initial guideline, we can switch over to our 1 guard all the way open and create our 3rd guideline. We are right on top of the occipital bone, so you want to make sure you detail. Also, use your lever to soften up the line as much as possible here. As you can see, now that we're done softening up the line, we can move on to the half guard and erase the line completely. Remember, we are using its lever in the corners. Since we're done with the lower guards, we can move on to our 2 guard all the way open and create our 4th guideline. This guideline is going to help us get ready for the 1.5 guard and also blend into the 3 guard on top. Now we're switching over to our 3 guard all the way open, and this is going to help us connect to the 4 guard on top that we debulked with. We're also going to use a 4 guard all the way closed on the beard, the same thing we used on top. Before we line him up, we're going to make sure his hairline is nice and even with the 4 guard closed. Now that we're done going against the grain on his hairline, we can move on to our gold FX and start off in the middle, working our way to the sides. You always want to make sure you go slow enough that the hair feeds into the teeth of the trimmer, because if not, then you won't line them up properly. Moving on to my C cup, I'm starting off at the bottom and working my way to the top arch using the corners of the blade. You also want to make sure you're going against the grain, especially if the hair is growing to the sides. Make sure to keep the corners and vertical bars as natural as possible. Nobody wants the corners too exaggerated. Now we're moving on to the C cup and we're starting off at the bottom and working our way to the top arch using its corners. Again, I hope you guys are enjoying the video. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. It's greatly appreciated. Also, if you made it this far into the video, leave a comment down below of my subscriber count. I'm 100% going to reply to you guys. We're going to use our no guard all the way open to start off the fading the sideburns. We're then going to move on to our one guard all the way open and arch the clipper at a certain angle. Now that we're done with the one guard, we're switching over to our 1.5 guard all the way open, which is equivalent to a 2 guard closed. Now that we're done fading the beard, we can move on to our turquoise razor and Derby premium blades and make them as crispy as possible. When you're using the razor, you always want to make sure you stretch the skin with your opposite hand as much as possible, and also keep the razor at a 45-degree angle. This lowers the likelihood of you cutting someone. Also, don't forget to use shave gel on the bottom of the neck, especially if they have coarse hair. What's going on, guys? FadeitLuie here, bringing guys a brand new video. We're gonna be doing a mid-taper on my boy, so stay tuned. He came in looking a little crazy today, so we made sure we saturated the hair and comb everything in place, making sure our canvas is nice and neat. Now that we're done cleaning up our canvas, we can move on to the back and create our first guideline using our Gold FX. Now that we're done botting them out, we can move on to our no guard all the way open and create our second guideline. You always want to make sure you create this guideline around 1 inch thick so you can spread the blend. We're then going to slightly close the lever midway and all the way close and attack that initial guideline. Make sure to use your opposite hand to either stretch the skin or comb the hair. Now that we're done erasing our initial guideline, we can move on to our 1 guard all the way open and create our third guideline. We're going to use this same guard and the lever to soften up this line and get ready for the half guard. We are right underneath the occipital bone, so you want to make sure you detail and spend as much time here. Now that the line is soft enough, we're moving on to our half guard and we're going to try to erase the line completely using our corners and the lever. Now that we're done with our lower guards, we can move on to our 2 guard all the way open and create our fourth guideline. We're using the comb to feed the hair into the clipper while flicking out as much as we can. We're also going to use this same guard and the lever to soften up the line and get ready for the 1.5 guard. I hope you guys are enjoying the video. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. It's greatly appreciated. Also, if you want to show some extra support, go follow my Instagram. Now that we're done softening up the line with the 2 guard, we can move on to our 1.5 guard and erase the line completely. Always make sure to use your lever and its corners. Sometimes there's still a faint line after using your 1.5 guard, so switching over to your 1 guard all the way open and using its corners will definitely help. Now we're moving on to our 3 guard all the way open and we're making sure we flick out as much as possible while feeding the hair into the clipper using our comb. Now we're moving on to our clipper oval comb method. We're going to use our horizontal cuts to make sure we debulk as much as possible, and our vertical cuts to make sure we blend as much as possible. Here we're debulking the sides with a little bit of clipper oval comb, and we're also going to use some shear work. Moving on to the side taper, we're going to use our Goat FX to create our first guideline, and we're going to make it into a curved shape. We're also going to shave off his sideburns and make sure his face is nice and clean. Now that we're done balding him out, we're going to move on to the back ear line and line it up, starting off at the bottom, working our way to the top arch using the corners and making sure the hair feeds into the teeth of the trimmer. Now we're using our foil shavers to remove the stubble and make sure everything's nice and bald. Now that we're done balding them out, we can move on to our no guard all the way open and create our second guideline. We also want to follow that same curved shape. Now that we're done tacking that initial guideline, we can move on to our one guard all the way open and create our third guideline. Remember, we're going to use the lever to soften up this line and get ready for the half guard. This is going to help us collect to the no guard all the way open. Now we're using our half guard to make sure the line between the no guard all the way open and the one guard all the way open is completely blended out. Using our two guard all the way open, we're going to create our fourth guideline and use the comb to feed the hair into the clipper. Remember, we're going to use this same guard and its lever to soften up the line and get ready for the 1.5 guard. Now we're moving on to the 3 guard all the way open, and we're going to continue to debulk the side taper. We're making sure the transition between the complete baldness and the bulk on top is completely smooth and unrigid. Here we're using our clipper oval comb to make the sides as clean as possible and take care of any weight lines. Now that we got our rough draft, we're detailing as much as possible with our previous guards, including the 2 guard and the 1.5 guard. Using our Gold FX, we're going to line up a C-cup, starting off at the bottom and working our way to the top arch. Going back to my 1 guard all the way open, I'm using its corners to detail as much as possible. Before we do our shear work on top and on the sides, we're going to make sure the hair is nice and saturated so I can get its true length. Now that the hair is nice and saturated, I'm going to comb everything in place. Starting off in the front, we're going to grab our first guideline and show them the length we want to cut and continue it through the top of the capitus, connecting it to the sides. When using your shears, you want to make sure you grab the hair with the comb, feed it into your fingers as tight as possible, stretch it as much as possible, and cut it with your cutting blade. As you can see, I'm connecting the sides to the top and making sure everything is nice and smooth. Again, I hope you guys are enjoying the video. If you made it this far into the video, leave a comment down below of my subscriber count. I'm 100% gonna reply to it. Now that we're done with our shear work, we're gonna move on to our Turkish razor and Derber premium blades and make them as crispy as possible. But before we do that, we're gonna apply some shave gel so our razor could glide better. When using the razor, you want to make sure you stretch the skin as much as possible with your opposite hand and keep the razor at a 45-degree angle. This lowers the likelihood of you cutting someone.